Hey everyone, it is Trina Jacobson, the owner and creator behind Diamonds and Dust. And today I'm going to show you how to make this absolutely gorgeous beach scene tumbler on a 40-ounce Big Betty. These ones are really cool because you can change out the handles to kind of match your design. If you like this tutorial, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And if you try my techniques, make sure you give Diamonds and Dust a tag. Today we're going to be working on a Tipsy Magnolia Big Betty. This is a dupe for the Stanley, and we are going to remove the handle. I just have a small Phillips screwdriver here, and we are going to remove those two screws that you can see on the bottom of the handle, and then set those screws to the side, and the handle will just lift right off. I'm going to prep my tumbler by taking my 80 grit sanding block and just giving this a good sand. You'll want a higher grit sandpaper or sanding block. You really want to scuff up this surface. If you feel like sanding is not working for you, then it's usually because the grit of the sandpaper is not quite rough enough. Once you get it sanded, I just like to take a dry paper towel and remove that excess dust. And then we are going to grab some painter's tape, and you are just going to eyeball, this is up to your discrepancy, where you want the horizon of your beach tumbler. I am just going to grab an extra piece of painter's tape and fold it in half and cut out a flat semicircle. This will be the sun to your sunset. I'm going to be doing a pastel version of this tumbler. Years ago, I did one in kind of like reds and berries and pinks, and this time I wanted to make it a little bit lighter. So I grabbed a purple chalk paint, a peach chalk paint, and a light pink chalk paint, and we are just going to ombre those down till we get to our tape. Now, I am using chalk paint. If you would like to use spray paint, you totally can, but I'm just going to show you how I use chalk paint, and I will also show you how to blend these together to make a really beautiful ombre. For now, I am just going to be applying the color where I want it on the first coat. If you got fairly good coverage on your first coat, you can blend from here. If you didn't, then you're just going to want to go over those with a second coat and then blend on the second coat. So to blend, I am taking a new brush, and I'm just going to dip half of my brush in the pink and half of my brush in the purple, and then just go back and forth in that pink and purple section until you get a beautiful blend. Then I will move on to the light pink and orange section with a new brush, and I will dip it half in the light pink and half in that peachy orange, and I will just blend back and forth until that blends as well. You are going to let that paint fully dry, and then we are going to be using In the Wild glitter, Cactus Blossom, and Safari. I then am going to grab some of my favorite glitter glue, which is Tumbler Epoxy's Epoxy Seal, and we are going to coat that top section. We are going to work fairly fast as any glitter glue usually dries pretty quick. But you can also use epoxy if you would like. I just like the glitter glue because it does dry a little bit faster, and I can move on to the next step. Once you have that whole top section coated evenly with your glitter glue, we are going to ombre those 3 colors. We're first going to take in the wild, and we are going to just place this pretty heavily at the top rim. And then we are going to move on to cactus blossom, and we're going to put it right in the middle really heavily in our pink section. Then we are going to take safari, and we are going to place that at the top of our tape. Once you have all 3 colors kind of lined up and placed where they want to go, you are going to take your safari and you're just going to start ombreing. So I will just take, and my glitter is in a cup, but if you have a jar, that works too. And I am just going to tilt my tumbler and I'm going to tap my jar, just letting the glitter kind of cascade down into the pink. Then I will move on to the pink and let it cascade down into the orange, and then do the same with the pink and the purple. Now we are going to remove that piece of tape that makes our sun, and then we are going to take the colors As If and Just Dandy. Then we are going to take our glitter glue and just fill in that sun section. I'm going to place the As If around the outside of the sun and the Just Dandy in the center, which will give it kind of a glowing, radiant look. You're going to pull your tape and let that section dry for a little bit. Now I'm going to take 3 shades of blue, kind of starting with a dark turquoise and then working down to a light aqua. Now at this point, if you want to tape off the top, you can spray seal your glitter really well and then you can tape on top of it. But I am just going to use my glitter as a guide and hold my brush right up to my glitter and then apply that dark turquoise color. Then I will apply the next section of the lighter turquoise down to the aqua, leaving some room at the bottom because we are just going to add a tan paint color because we are going to be using a goldish color for the sand. I blended those blues the same way that I blended the top, and then I'm just going to take kind of a tannish color paint and paint the bottom where you would like your sand to go. Once that paint section is all dry, you're going to go back to your glitter glue and apply glitter glue to now the bottom half. You are then going to grab a gold glitter. I like a medium chunky mix for my beach sand, and I am going to be using champagne, and I'm just going to apply that to the bottom half of our tumbler. Now this section you don't have to ombre. I actually don't like to ombre my beaches with the sand because sand isn't ombreed. So just throw some gold glitter on the bottom, and then we are going to go back up closest to the sun, and we are going to take Seaside and just apply a little bit right at that horizon mark. Then we are going to ombre down Totally Tubular, Eye Candy, down to Succulent, which will now meet up to the sand. You are going to let those glitter sections fully dry, and then you are going to spray seal your glitter really, really well. I usually do 2 or 3 times with a clear spray sealer, and you're going to let that dry fully. You then are going to take your tumbler back over to your turner and apply a coat of epoxy. I'm not going to go into too much detail on how I do around my handles on my Stanley dupes, but I do have more in-depth tutorial on my Big Betty, Little Betty combo on my YouTube channel as well. But I just set the handle back on and epoxy around it, and then I just remove the handle as it's spinning. You're going to let that layer cure, and then we are going to mix up some more epoxy, this time leaving some to the side where you will have enough for clouds and waves. I just added some epoxy pigment, some white epoxy pigment to a little bit of epoxy, and I'm going to set that to the side. And then we are going to add another coat of epoxy. Once again, I just set my handle on to the tumbler, and then I will epoxy around the handle, and then I will remove it. That will just leave little kind of indents where the handle goes, so your epoxy doesn't get too thick and your handle won't be able to fit. We are going to be adding waves and clouds to our sky. While that epoxy is still wet, we're gonna go back and grab our white pigment paste epoxy, and I'm just taking a popsicle stick and applying some wavy lines in the blue section. Let's remember that the top section is the sky. Please don't add waves to your sky. That's where our clouds go. I'm just going to take my popsicle stick and slightly spread out where I put the waves so they're not quite as gloopy looking. I have more tips and tricks on how to make your waves look a little bit more realistic and how to make those beautiful clouds. That will be available over in my mentorship group, and there will be a link for you down in the description if you would like to join. Now you can leave your tumbler as is and let your artwork speak for itself, or you can add an SVG. This SVG is one of my favorites from my shop, especially on any beach tumblers. This one just says Beach Babe in my hand lettering, and it's just really soft and pretty. It won't take over your entire tumbler, which is exactly what I wanted. I know I wanted the saying, but I didn't want it to take over. So I just applied that using some gold textured vinyl, and the pieces that were kind of being a pain in the butt to weed, I just applied that all to my tumbler and then went back out and weeded out the rest. Now you're going to add your final layers of epoxy. Once your epoxy is fully cured, just take your handle and those screws and screw it back on. And here is our tumbler all finished. I love that kind of purplish pink handle I added. I love the option of changing out the handle to match your design. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks so much for watching.